Today we have a viral TikTok video from a woman who decided to share some marriage and relationship advice. Now the twist in this case is that the advice actually isn't terrible. This is one of those very rare occasions when somebody on TikTok had something not horrifically stupid to say about romantic relationships. One of the few times where we don't have to lament that this video has been viewed millions of times, which it has, because the point she's making here is actually basically true. Watch.
This is a hot tip for the ladies. Men love quests. No, I know, not all men, but most men, okay? And all the men I want in my life, they like quests. Most men hate puzzles, but they love quests. Most men don't want you to be coy and confusing and elusive. They want you to have very clear quests that you tell them, this is exactly what I want you to do this, and I will be happy when you do it. My friend was telling me that her boyfriend offered to scrape off her car the other day. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. She's like, yeah, I told him not to, but I thought it was nice he offered. And I was like, oh, you told him not to? She's like, yeah, I didn't want to be difficult and inconvenience him. And I'm like, but didn't he happily offer to do it? And she's like, yeah, but I told him I didn't want him to. I'm like, oh, you didn't want him to? Like, you wanted to do it yourself? And she's like, no, I would have loved if he did it for me, but I didn't want to be difficult. And I'm like, honey, you have to remember, men love quests. If you don't want him to do something because you want to do it yourself, that's totally fine. But do not squash yourself down and deny yourself for no reason. Instead, let them do the quest for you and then be super appreciative and kind and happy about it. Nothing makes a man happier than completing a quest for you and you being happy and appreciative about it. So when he offers to scrape your car off, say, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And then when he comes in, tell him, thank you. That just made my day so much brighter. Maybe make him a warm cup of coffee so that it's ready right when he comes in. It's like a video game, okay? He did his quest and then you gave him a resource in return. He leveled up in the game. He's winning now. You gave him the gift of winning. When a man loves you, nothing will make him happier than knowing he made you a little happier via a quest. Why do you think there's so many memes of boyfriends and husbands filling a girl's water cup? I'll tell you why. It's a quick, easy quest. If the quest involves something that makes him feel kind of manly and powerful, that's a double points quest. My husband just put together a little vanity for me and I came upstairs and I just started jumping up and down and I was like, oh my God, it looks so good. He's just like beaming, like, I did it. Look how happy I made her.
Now, I'll admit I was slightly distracted by that mysterious substance in her cup, which came perilously close to spilling over the edge multiple times during the video. Not sure what beverage has a yellowish green tint and is consumed out of a mug, but that's a question for another day. I was also trying to listen to her point in spite of the shaky cam cinematography technique she's using. I'm not sure why that's so popular on social media these days. Every selfie video looks like the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan. It's like kind of bizarre. But aside from all that, her fundamental point is basically correct. She says that men love quests. Now, I think a better term here would probably be mission. Men love going on missions. A quest, technically, is a long journey in search of something. So, you go on a quest to find the buried treasure. You go on a mission to save the damsel locked in the tower guarded by the evil dragon. So these terms are similar, but not exactly the same. What she's describing in the video is more of a mission than a quest. Although men do also love quests. You might even say that a quest is a mission with a puzzle attached, which is why the only thing she got wrong is when she said men hate puzzles. We don't. What we hate are pointless puzzles. Okay, we hate having to crack some complicated code when the answer could be easily obtained some other way. This is one of the reasons, I know for me as a man, actual puzzles in a box, I hate those. I'm not gonna do them because the picture of what the thing is on the box. It is the box. So why do I need to do it? I'm gonna spend 6 hours putting a puzzle together to just recreate the picture that's already right there. I don't see a point to it, so I don't wanna do it. In a relationship, a man gets frustrated when his wife wants something or is upset about something and won't just come out and say what it is. That's the kind of puzzle we hate because it's artificial, it's arbitrary. The woman is creating a puzzle and wasting our time and generating frustration and friction needlessly. But if there is a puzzle that actually needs to be solved in pursuit of some ultimate goal, some mission, well, then we love that. That's a thrill. And this begins at the earliest ages. Pretty much all of a boy's daydreaming and make-believe revolves around him going on grand adventures and fighting bad guys and saving the day. Which that alone tells you almost everything you need to know about the innate differences between boys and girls and men and women, starting with the fact that there are innate differences that go beyond the physical, There are also these innate psychological and I would say spiritual differences. I've never, maybe every once in a while you'll have a girl that does this kind of make-believe thing where she's fighting bad guys, but I've never even seen that. For boys, this just comes naturally. It's all they ever do. And that continues even into adulthood, by the way, in terms of the daydreaming and everything that even grown men do. Now, and you see it in more everyday ways also. The other day, I had to run to Lowe's to get some bags of sand. Not a very exciting trip. Just had to get some bags of sand. My 2 older boys were begging to go with me. And anytime I run an errand, they want to come because I got a little mission I have to go do, and they want to come with me. This is also something I've noticed with my youngest sons who just turned 2. And because they're 2, if you kind of shout to them across the room and tell them to come over to you, the response is quite mixed. They might come. Most of the time, they'll just sort of stare at you uncomprehendingly and disinterested and then carry on with whatever they're doing, playing with trains or whatever. But I found that if I ask them to bring me something, well, then they'll grab the thing and run right to me. Because coming over to dad isn't a mission, but grabbing that random object over there and bringing it to dad, that is a mission. So this has happened many times. I'll say, hey, buddy, come over here. Come here. And he's just staring at me. Hey, go grab me that ball and bring it over. And he gets up and runs for the ball and brings it over. This is how boys are wired from birth. Now, the only risk in this idea that men love quests, or as I would put it, men love missions, is that it can take on a patronizing tone. Now, I don't think the woman in the video was being patronizing, but that's where this line of thinking can lead. If you take it the wrong way, you might think that the way to keep a man happy is just to constantly give him little tasks to complete and then clap and pat him on the head like he's a 2-year-old who just picked up the ball and brought it to you. That may work for toddlers, but not for grown men. Because a man loves going on a mission for the reason that it has a purpose. And men need to have a sense of purpose. If you own a smartphone, a computer, or any internet-connected device, there are thousands of companies out there who know you better than you do. They're called data brokers, and they make billions of dollars a year tracking your activity across the internet. They know what you've bought, everywhere you've been, who you talk to, your private and personal beliefs, and they package all that up into a profile that they sell to people who want to control you, marketers, activists, and yes, politicians. So what can you do about it? Well, you can get off the internet entirely, or you can start protecting yourself with ExpressVPN. Here's something most people don't realize. Your internet provider can see everything you do online, even in incognito mode. That's why I use ExpressVPN. These companies track you through your IP address, but ExpressVPN masks your IP address completely, giving you a new IP address that can't be traced back to you. With the new year and new opportunities coming up, I'm especially grateful for ExpressVPN. Whether I'm checking my bank account from the airport or working from my laptop on the go, I know my data is secure. It's incredibly simple, just one click and you're protected across all your devices. Find out how you can get 4 months free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow. There are 2 ways to break a man's spirit. One is to give him nothing to do at all. A man with no mission in life is a man in despair. It's one of the reasons why a lot of men retire and then die a year later, because they have no mission. The other way is to give him something to do with no clear sense of why he's doing it. Not having any task to complete can be soul-crushing for a man, but having a pointless task can be even more soul-crushing. A mission is not a mission unless there's an objective, and a man needs to have an objective. He needs to have little objectives throughout his day and then larger ones that he pursues over the course of months and years. A man with no objectives, no missions, is again a man in a state of total despair. Now, bringing this back to the context of marriage and family, this is all really a long way of saying that men are providers. That's really what we're talking about. When she's talking about a man on a quest, she's actually talking about a man providing. Okay, and this is why men love quests, as she said, because men are providers. They love to provide. This is the ultimate mission that gives a man it gives his life a sense of purpose. It's the point that lies behind even the tasks that would otherwise seem pointless. Okay, a man sitting in a cubicle and punching numbers into a computer all day may feel like his job has no grand purpose, and maybe it doesn't. But if he has a family to provide for, then that is the grand purpose. And that alone makes the job at least tolerable. Men love quests and missions because we are born to be providers. It's what we need to do. It's what society needs us to do. Now, of course, I'll be told, as we so often are, that women can also provide. And that's true. I mean, a woman can certainly, in this day and age, get a job, earn a paycheck, support her family. That can happen. It sometimes does happen. But women, generally speaking, can also be happy, and I would say most of the time happier, without the pressure of being the breadwinner and provider. And society, as history has clearly shown, can function very well when men play the provider role nearly exclusively. The same is not true the other way around. Most men cannot be happy when their wives are the ones carrying the burden of providing. And the wives cannot be happy either. Not just unhappy. I mean, I would be in agony if I was at home and relying on my wife to support our family. It would literally kill me. And that's the case for most men. I mean, this is why the stay-at-home dad arrangement doesn't work. It can only work if a man finds a way to stifle and suffocate that innate part of himself that calls him to go out into the world and take on the mission of providing for his family, which is to say, it works only if the man spiritually and psychologically deforms himself, which is to say, it doesn't actually work. So unless a man is somehow incapacitated or severely disabled in some way, he should not be relying on his wife to provide for him and their children. To choose such a life is shameful. A man can only pretend that he's not ashamed, but the more he pretends, the more his shame comes through. Now, on a societal level, there's no evidence that a society can function, much less thrive, when the women are the primary providers. No such society has ever existed in the history of the civilization, or could exist, for very long at least. And we know that from history. So this is what the statement "men love quests" actually means. It's a basic truth of male psychology, and it's a fundamental building block of human civilization. It's nice that something like that is being discussed on TikTok for a change, which is why the woman who made that TikTok video is not today canceled. Hey YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.